And then we have the marketing. Okay, and this is like really 1, 2, this is like step 1 to step 2 to step 3. Okay, just so you know, that's kind of how it works. All right. And so the marketing, there's a lot of different ways to find storage facilities. I go in my boot camp with all my students, I go over like 15 different ways to buy storage. I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but right now what we are doing internally, what we do with all my 15 virtual assistants that we have, we are cold calling. Okay, that's what we're doing. So you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this for us is just the best way to go about it. Now this cold calling owners is what we do. So we cold call owners is what we do. We try to find the owner's information and then we call them to see if they want an offer. You never ask anybody if they want to sell. You ask them if they want an offer, because nobody wants to sell, but everybody wants to get an offer, right? Just to see what their property is worth, you know? And so cold calling, just so everybody knows, this strategy, this is a numbers game. It is a numbers game. So like, if you don't want to sit there and like, call owners over and over and over again, because that's really basically what you're going to be doing with cold calling. Because think about this, like the mindset of somebody, like the mindset of a storage facility owner. You have two different mindsets. One of them is like, they're not thinking about selling. And then you randomly call them and say, hey, would you like to get an offer? And they're thinking like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, but I'm not ready. Right? Because, like, let's just say that we gave them an offer and they're like, it's right on what they were thinking. They were like, wow, I was really thinking that's what it is. Maybe I should sell. Right. And then all of a sudden they're thinking like, okay, well, like QuickBooks is not really perfect. I don't have my tax returns, P&L balance sheet. Like, I don't really have proof of income, like, because, this is really the mindset of an owner that you're cold calling, is that they are not prepared to sell. All right. So you have to understand that going into calling them, right? They are not prepared to sell. Okay. And then the second thing is the second way is like, if you go on to like Crexi or LoopNet or the MLS and you go look for properties, well, guess what? They've already got all their P&L balance sheet, tax returns, everything all done. So they are ready to sell. Like, they're ready to give you all the information. You know what I'm saying? So they're on top of it. So, and so then it's an easier, I wouldn't say easier, it's just a different way of going about doing it, because then essentially what happens is that you have to work with the realtor, the broker in the middle, in order to, like the one that I'm buying right now. Not that the realtor is like horrible, but I mean, it's just so much easier to go directly to an owner and say, look, let me put an offer in. But the truth is, like, this is kind of the easier way to do it. Going to the realtor, going to a broker, and just looking on Crexi and saying, let me put offers in on all these things. This is the easy way and this is the hard way. So I'm going to put this here too. So brokers and in online, right? All right. So I would say this is this is the hard way. And this is like the easier way. Okay. It's supposed to say easier, not easier. Okay. Now, so now with the, so these are the two ways, these are the two ways that, like I say, most people are doing it in the thing. So I'm gonna say, these are really the most important. Now, I have been over many, many times using Google Maps to find storage facilities, virtually driving for storage, or getting out and driving for storage. All right. So actually driving for storage. Those are for me are like, honestly, it's the best way, but that's not what we're doing right now. Okay. So virtually driving for storage and, or using Google Maps. Using Maps, Google. Okay. And then actually driving for storage. Okay. So these are the 3 ways right here. Now, when I first started getting into self-storage, I was driving for storage. I was actually driving around, like I told you, with like all these little tiny towns, and just driving around, talking to owners and seeing if they're interested in getting an offer. And the good thing is, like, especially in like tertiary markets, you just call the number on the sign and like the owner answers. And mostly secondary markets as well too. It's not difficult to get hold of owners in like secondary and tertiary markets. It gets harder when you get into primary markets, right? So this is what I did, is I drove for storage. And then after a while, I started really virtually driving. I used Google Maps and I got in and really kind of looked around to see if I could find any storage facilities that way. Right. And so that's what I did as well. So this one right here is kind of what I did in the beginning. Right. And this is like, if you want to buy one facility, this is a very good way to, find storage facilities to buy. But then like, I have to buy a storage facility a quarter is what I have to buy. Okay. So we're into now a storage facility a quarter. And so like, for me to be able to buy a storage facility a quarter, I have to have a lot of people calling and talking to owners, and it's like doing the cold calling thing, right? So personally, we never go on Crexi or LoopNet to look for deals. That doesn't mean I haven't done that, right? But I have personally never gone on to Crexi. Now, the deal that I just told you about earlier, that one a wholesaler brought to me, and he said, look, I talked to this realtor and I can get this for a really good deal. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. Right. But I didn't do that myself. My team didn't do that. And then also for our students, we do what's called turnkey acquisitions, which is where they can hire my virtual assistants to find a deal for them. And every once in a while, a student will say, hey, like, there's some deals on Crexi. Can you please take a look at them? And we'll take a look at them is what we'll do. But my virtual assistants are really trained to talk to owners directly. And we don't really do a lot of Crexi stuff because, Crexi or LoopNet or online stuff, because the prices are just really high. Like, for instance, like we did an offer in Montana where they wanted $2.2 million and our offer was like $1.2 million. That's like a huge, big difference, what I'm saying, on a deal. And that's really a lot of times that's how it is on like online stuff, right? So even though it's easier to find the facilities, it's easier to find them here, it's a lot harder to find a good deal, right? And then it's harder to find the deals here, but it's actually easier to talk to the owners, right? And so this as well too, this is probably this is the easiest way to talk to owners, is just doing virtual driving or driving for storage, calling the owner and talking to them, okay? All right, so just so you know, those are all the different ways, okay?